Let's gather around the campfire. Another gorgeous day in Valheim. After spending a large portion of last episode in the swamp, it's nice to see a sunny day like this again. And considering I'll be diving right back into the swamp today, I should probably savor it and soak in some rays today. Just kidding. I'm a pasty white gamer, so I'm gonna just head back inside. Wouldn't want to touch grass or anything. Grabbing all of my iron bars that I smelted up between episodes, it was time to upgrade some gear and officially enter the Iron Age. Oh, come on. It's right there. Like literally right there. Jeez. Okay. Let's just pretend that didn't happen. I crafted some iron scale mail and some iron greaves. I then upgraded to an iron mace, the perfect weapon for the swamp. An iron pickaxe, which will come in handy later. I then realized I need a few more supplies for an upgraded bow. I also made an iron axe. Just check me out. Looking good. Bone Mass is probably rolling with laughter at me, but screw that guy. Alright, let's talk goals for the episode. Number 1, raid a ton of swamp dungeons and gather up a buttload of iron. Number 2, gather up a ton of coal for all my smelting needs. And finally, number 3, begin working on a new house. Don't get me wrong, I love this place, but it's pretty small. My storage isn't nearly enough to keep up with the junk that I'm collecting, so it's time for an upgrade. Alright, let me just grab my poison resistance meat, which will be extremely handy in not dying to poison in these crypts. It turns out that there are a ton of dungeons in the area that I set up shop in last episode, like at least 5 or 6 that I can see so far. I'm going to raid all of them today and see what I come up with. Oh yeah, and remember the poison resistance meat that would stop me from dying to poison in these crypts? Yeah, that stuff only works if you actually use it.
We've all made mistakes. I know I have.
One teleport of shame later, and I was back to work mining iron, looting chests, and killing Draugr. And after my first trip home to drop off supplies, I had collected enough treasure to buy a wonderful item from Haldor, the Diverger Circlet, a headpiece that would produce light in these dark crypts. Very useful. Shortly thereafter, I ran into the guy I mentioned last episode, the Draugr Elite. In my iron armor, I was much less scared now, but these guys can certainly still pack a punch. Unless they stand there and take my arrows to the ass like it's their job. Who's elite now, bitch? Okay, let's take a second to really show some love to the Iron Mace here. This is my go-to swamp weapon anytime I'm first reaching in a playthrough, and from here on out I'm probably going to be sticking with maces for the majority of the rest of this playthrough. I mean, come on, maces are sick. There's just something about the idea of smacking someone in the face with a mace that just feels really good, you know what I mean? In the swamp, this thing is a beast, and it's super effective against skeletons, blobs, and the boss of the swamp, Bone Mass. Now, it's not the perfect weapon for every mob that I'll be encountering, but that's okay. Feeling like a badass is way more important than efficiency. Oh, look at this loot! One hell of a spelunking trip later. Wait, can I call this spelunking? I mean, I'm underground, I'm mining ores and such. I've got a headpiece with a light on it, and it's dark as hell.
Double kill.
I don't know, let me know in the comments below if you would call this spelunking. After raiding all those dungeons, in total I collected nearly 250 pieces of scrap iron. That's a seriously good haul, and I was ready to start smelting. However, while I had all the iron in the world, the same could not be said for coal. And while burning wood for coal was an option, I knew I was going to need the wood for building my house later on, so I decided to go for a much more interesting option. I was going to make a coal farm. Now, if you didn't see them in my previous video, there are some fire geysers near the dungeons that I've been plundering. There are also some fire dudes at said fire geysers, and they're called Surtlings, just like the cubes that I need for crafting portals and smelters. That's because they drop those cubes, but they also drop coal when they die. Now, I have never made a farm like this before, but it's pretty easy to be honest. Let me just take out these wannabe human torches, and I'll get to work. The basic concept here is pretty simple. I just need to mine all of the land around the geyser so that the Surtlings spawn in water. This instantly kills them, and I can collect all the drops. It's not the fastest farm in the world since they take 5 minutes to respawn, but luckily there was a second geyser just around the corner, so I can make a dual farm. With both of the farms completed, I also put this AFK area where I could just chill and let the items build up. And it's pretty much as simple as that. Here we can see coal, Surtling cores, and Surtling heads just chilling in the water, easy peasy. So I'm going to do most of the AFKing and the smelting of the iron ore process off camera, because there's only so much of that you guys want to see. Now in my spare time, I had gone out exploring the main spawn island a bit, looking for anything interesting, but also for a place to build my new home. And finally I came across this beauty here. It's got all the makings of a great early to mid game base. A fairly flat terrain, it's in a meadows biome, it's near water for easy boat access, and the surroundings just look really nice. Let me flatten things out a bit and we can jump into the actual building part. Okay, time to place the first block of the new house. It can be a bit finicky at times, but there we go. Now, I won't be building the complete house in this episode, but what I do hope to accomplish is getting a floor plan down and start planning out walls and such, so that I know what I'm doing in the next episode. In Valheim, I would say I'm a decent builder. I'm not great, but I'm not terrible. I like to make nice looking houses, and I have a lot of good ideas. But recently I've been watching a lot of house showcases on YouTube and such for some inspiration, and I'd like to try some of those new techniques and ideas out on this house. One such video was Folded Sombrero's Seabreeze mansion. I'll leave a link to the build down in the description below, but the amount of detail in that build was amazing. It is a modded build, which means that they had access to some blocks and items I won't have, but I was still able to see a lot of cool ideas, and you'll notice some similarities in the basic shape of my house and their mansion. Now before I skip to a bit of progress on the house, I do want to mention some details about the Valheim server that I'm starting up soon. As I mentioned in the last episode, the plan for this server is to start it up in September and have it available to anyone and everyone who wants to join. The date I'm planning to start the server is next week on Sunday, September 10th. There will be a separate video going up next week to give an in-depth look at what exactly you can expect on the server, but if you're interested at all, join my Discord and give me some of your thoughts, and or just get to know a few of the others who may be joining in as well. I'm really looking forward to taking down some bosses with all of you. And if there's anybody out there who doesn't have access to Discord or does not use Discord, feel free to leave a comment down below and I will make sure I get the details to you. So here you can see a general layout of the floor plan for my house, or at least the basic footprint of it is there, I suppose. There will be a second building coming in shortly, but for now I want to take some time and lay out some walls on the main building of the house. The basic idea here in my head is that the small room in the back will be my kitchen, and the bigger room will be my main living space with a bit of a modern longhouse style to it. I added in a bit of curvature for some interesting shapes as well, so that everything didn't just look very flat. Here you can see the second building's footprint coming in. I plan on adding a second story bridge connecting the two buildings, but the one on the right is going to be my storage and crafting area when it's all finished. Now, one thing that was starting to become very noticeable was my lack of building supplies. I was essentially out of stone, so it was time to farm some more. However, this time I was going to do it the lazy way. I ran around the forest a bit, taking out as many of these as I could find, but it was very clear that next episode I was going to need to make a stone and wood farm. Once I had collected enough materials, I went back to building some of the basic walls and a few doors on the house, and well, this is what I came up with. I was going to switch to using wood for the walls from here, so I was going to have to do a bit of resource gathering between episodes to get that done. But before I wrapped things up, my iron was all finished smelting, and it was time to put it to good use. I wanted to upgrade my gear as much as possible because I was probably going to take on bone mass in the next episode, and well, I was going to need the best of everything to do so. This also meant that it was finally time to make and wear a real headpiece, so I crafted an iron helmet. I also began crafting some iron nails so that I could make some better furniture for my better house, which would give me a better rested bonus. You know, once the house was finished, that is. I made an iron buckler, and I upgraded things as much as I could right now. Now let's check me out. I'm officially the Iron King of Valheim. Looking good. Well everyone, that is it for today. It was another shorter episode, however the next one is going to be a longer one I feel, so make sure you're subscribed so that you don't miss it when it drops. Also smack that like button while you're there since it really helps me grow. And don't forget to join the Discord if you're interested in joining my Valheim server. Thanks, and goodbye.